Hello and welcome back to the Hollywood Actors Guide to Surviving the Film and Television Industry along with COVID-19. This is Jennifer Lynn Warren, quarantined out of North Hollywood, California. And today, let's start by thinking of how this pandemic may have shifted your view of Hollywood. Do you see this business differently since everything has gone down? Are you paying attention to what the late night hosts are doing? Are you paying attention to what is being created by people like John Krasinski and his show Some Good News? And if you look around and you see what's happening and the material that's being created, it's not about multi-million-dollar productions. It's about stuff people are doing in their hotel room or in their homes right now. Some people are stuck in hotel rooms. Actually, they were traveling internationally and they haven't been able to leave. And they're still creating content and they're still producing content. And it's great because as human beings, we just crave great storytelling. We don't care if you've spent $1 billion on post-production, unless we're spending $20 on a movie ticket, then we're expecting that, right? But when we're at home right now, you have such an opportunity to be creative and to put some stuff out. I've been personally just throwing up some dance pieces. There's some other stuff that I'm thinking about doing, but I've been obsessively learning Spanish right now. I've just so determined to put that as a new skill on my resume that I haven't really been creating content. I've been more focusing on skill creation and developing some belly dance stuff. But you got to go where your creative energy is. But I've also been paying attention and watching what other people are doing and being very inspired by that. And you should look at it yourself and you should ask yourself if your perception of this industry has changed, because it should. I'm not going to tell you how it should. You can DM me if you think you know what I'm thinking about, but I really want you guys to think about it. All right, let's switch over to a little fun little conversation. Let's talk about lust. So we've all been in a situation in which you're playing a character in which you're supposed to be in love with and or attracted to another character. It's part of, the given circumstances of the scene, but you do not feel attracted to that other actor. And so a lot of times what I see actors do is they start to intellectualize the attraction that the character has for the other character. They're like, oh, well, I must find them attractive because they're rich, or because according to the script, they're good looking, and all these other kind of things. And the thing is, have you ever looked at a friend who you think is like a 10 and they date like a 4? You know what I'm talking about. We all have these number scales. It's a terrible thing to do, but we do it. And we're here to, to try to make things simple. And you're like, what does that person see in that other person? And that right there, you're trying to intellectualize it. Whereas there's so many things that go into what makes us attracted to another person or obsessive about another person, right? And so if you're having trouble getting into that moment with that other actor, there are things that you can do by knowing yourself to get you into the mood. And if that other actor is cool with it, you can even have them help you out. And that is not about, for instance, like, I'm not saying don't go like, hey, is it okay if I put my hand here because I think my character might reach around and grab your hair in this like sexual scene? And they're like, yes, that's not the intellectualization I'm talking about, because that conversation needs to happen. That conversation needs to happen so that you can feel comfortable in the movements that you do with the other character if you are in a sexualized scene, so that you can emote as an actor and be in the emotion and not worry about how it, or if the other actor is feeling safe, because you've already had that safety and boundary conversation, right? You don't want to, go into a scene and you're like, oh, I kissed this actor. and find out later that they were not cool with tongue, and you were like, well, everybody who is in love kisses with tongue, and then that you find out they feel violated, you don't want to do that. That intellectualization you do want to do. Those conversations you do want to have. I'm talking about the preparation and the actual like emotion that you're going to be having and that you're going to be emoting in that moment. And this comes down to knowing yourself and knowing what turns you on. And it doesn't have to be that other actor. So what am I talking about? All right. So what I'm talking about is sometimes it can be a certain scent that turns you on, and that you can even have on your own body and just like think about that in that moment and like, take a whiff of that lavender or whatever it is that, really gets you in the mood. And this is something that you need to figure out what kind of person you are, because everybody is turned on by different things. We'll get real personal here. I'm a very intellectual person. So if you don't have like a nice stimulating conversation with me, I'm probably not going to be in the mood. So if I have to be in the mood with another actor, a lot of times I start asking them like semi-personal questions, try to get them to open up, because the moment they open up even just the tiniest bit to me, like I can allow that to have a point of entry for me for any sort of like lusty feelings I need to feel for them as an actor towards their character. So this is something you need to know. You might be a very physical person. Now that obviously like sometimes maybe just getting a hug from that person before the scene with their permission, and as long as they're not creeped out by it, could be all that you need. So you need to, ironically, you need to intellectualize your own lust and figure out what that is now, so that when you are in that moment and you have to figure out that lust towards somebody else that you may not naturally be feeling, you already know what your personal triggers are. And if you're a really good actor, you'll share that with your scene partner, because it'll make them comfortable with you telling you what they need, because they want the scene to look good and they want to be comfortable. And a lot of actors are going to just get off on the fact that, oh, you're cool and into actory stuff. Because it's funny. I think actors who don't know each other, they kind of like walk around each other like giving each other the side eye, like are you like a real like theater geek? Do you geek out on the actor process, or are you one of those actors that's like, quote, too cool to talk about the actor process and you just do all of this like spontaneously, and you will never claim to have any training because you're just so naturally talented, which is such bullshit. But anyway, so like some actors do that, right? And so I know that we do that, but most of the time, if you get geeky actory with somebody and like, look, this is my process, like I get turned on by this, would it be okay if we do this right before the scene because it's going to make me more comfortable in the moment? They'll say yay or nay. Some people may agree with this method. This is a method I like to do when I am not finding my other partner particularly appealing, or sometimes even if I do, even if they are really stunningly hot, sometimes in the moment you just like, you've got 100 eyes on you and you need some more help to just relax and just be like, all right, I'm supposed to be falling in love, or I'm supposed to be like really wanting this person, and all I can think about is the fact that it's like 30 minutes till lunch, but I need to stop thinking about food. Or you use the fact that you really want food to channel that into you really want that other person, and just see like a nice hamburger where their face is supposed to be. Whatever works for you. I want to end today's show with a little love for what's going on right now and a quote. I love my quotes. And this is from Louise Hay. And they said, every thought we think is creating our future. So as we are sitting at home right now, you better be sitting at home right now. Everything that you're thinking in your head is going to manifest itself. So you have one or two choices. Either A, you're thinking the industry shut down, my career has ended, I should just move back home, everything's done. Or B, you're thinking, I have all this free time. I can finally get my materials in order. I can finally memorize a couple scenes to have them in my back pocket for casting workshops. I can finally reach out to new management teams because unless they have kids, they're sitting at home, looking for stuff to do, and they're going to be a lot more welcoming to maybe answering some letters from you as an actor seeking representation in this time. Because if you are like, hey, I don't care about COVID-19, I'm still hustling, that might be enough to get them to open up your email. So on that, guys, I do want to say that times are hard, and this podcast may need to go on hiatus. Unfortunately, my survival job is I've been furloughed for about a month now, and this podcast is not free to produce. You do have to pay monthly fees to put the podcast out. You can't just put a podcast out for free. I don't know if you knew that or not. So I pay out of my pocket to do this on my own. So if you do find this podcast useful, and you have the financial means and you are not unemployed, if you still have employment or if you're financially comfortable and you would care to send a tip to the show to help keep it running, you can send it by PayPal to my email, which is jenniferlynnwarren@gmail.com. It would be appreciated, and it would help the show stay running, and it would let me know that you guys are out there and you care and that you are listening. If you cannot help, that is completely fine. I know we are in crazy times right now. This is the last moment I would want to ask anyone for any financial help, but there are a few of you that are in very lucky financial means. So on that note, guys, I want you to break a leg out there and remember you are not alone.